Greetings and welcome to another Tavern Talk / LarpCast. My name is Artenin.
I'm Ronan.
I'm Mitri.
And we're doing a video and audio cast this fine... What is it now? We're doing Thursday
night.
January 27th?
No, 28th.
28th, 2015.
Quit living in the past.
I can't help it. And we're going to be doing...
Lots of good stuff coming your way today.
Lots. What is that? I don't know. Oh, yeah. What do you have in your hand there?
This is the new professionally done rulebook. It's, as you can tell, it's unlike others. It's
It lost some weight.
It lost a lot of weight. It's 175-ish page rulebook. It's got illustrations in it, so that means I can read it.
And they're in color. Yes.
And very well done, very well bound. Pick yours up today at
LarpCraft.com/store.
That's right. So you'll have your own professional-looking rulebook. No more PDF printouts for us. We've gone legit.
Well, really, this is the 6x9 version, which is why it's 170-some pages. The real rulebook is about 100 pages. But when you condense it down so it fits in bags and such, it tends to add a few more pages.
Right.
And I need a bigger bag.
It's still, though, it's a very well done rule book. Everything that you need, all the rules are in here. All of the classes, races, magic is in here. It's a great little thing to have with all of the admins and people in charge out there to have it with you. It's just
That's good. You get it. You did.
Yeah.
Nice job.
Right.
Nice job. Okay, we can put this away. All right. So what else are we going to talk about? We got a lot of different things that we want to bring out.
And
like,
give to you.
Yay.
Well, maybe not give, but...
We're not giving away the prizes?
Not today.
I don't know.
Oh, all right. Well, we could, I guess, but it's a private show, so we'll be getting the only ones. We're the ones getting them. No, okay. We got, with the LarpCast tonight, we are doing a few different things. Mitri's got some things to show. We have a few topics to talk about in the Myths and Legends system, and also a little recap on some of the stuff we've been working on with the Risen system. And just general overall talk about what's been happening in a few of the different colonies. And we're excited to see some of that stuff coming out. Ronan and Mitri, I'm like, hey, we're doing Tavern Talk, come over here. They're like, oh, all right. So it's going to be kind of fun, just kind of ad-libbing once again.
Because we don't believe in scripts.
We don't.
It's Brian's fault.
Yeah, it's usually I'm like, here, Ronan, go in front of the camera, say this.
This is a wonderful piece of equipment. Everybody should own it. It is amazing.
Speaking of that, Palmatoki has a blade we should review.
Yes, they do.
This is slash orc slasher.
Read the label.
I like this.
Yeah, it's the rusty slasher. It's kind of like the.
It's got a really nice paint job on it.
It's nice and sparkly.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the elven blade that they have, the draw blade, but it's got nicks in it. It's rusty. It's got a little bit more of an orcish feel to it. It's not so pretty.
No, when I say sparkly, it's not glittery. It just has a very nice finish.
Yeah, it's got a nice finish on it. So for those of you listening to the podcast, it's really, really nice.
Yes, and the bubble wrap is totally optional.
But that's how it comes packaged. Yes, it's straight out of the package. So and that's some of the stuff we want to do with these LarpCasts every time. We want to review a new piece of equipment. We have shirts and equipment and armor and weaponry. We're going to do a review on each one of them, each thing every week.
Is that a leather wrapped handle or is that suede?
That's suede leather.
Oh, okay.
Suede leather.
Oh, see, I was right on both accounts.
Yes, absolutely.
Woohoo!
And it's glued real nice. And that's kind of some of the stuff you look for with LARP weapons is if they do have a leather handle that it's wrapped really tight and that it's bound on both ends correctly. And
that it's adhesive really well to the
Yeah, it's
to the
adhering
weapon,
well to the weapon.
Right, because that it just ruins your day when you're out there fighting and oh look, the wrapping for the handles come off my weapon.
Yeah, that has happened actually.
Yes,
we've seen that happen with some other blades. So yeah, we'd like to thank Palatoki for letting us review this and
a full review will be in the works.
Yeah. And that's kind of some of the stuff that's kind of tough because it's in the middle of winter. We're here in Wisconsin, and it's cold and crappy outside. Well, that's not really a big deal because we're from here, except him because he's from Texas.
I'm not from here either.
Oh, yeah. Crap. I'm not from here. But that's why you guys complain about winter. Okay. We can play in the snow. We've done it. We do it. It's enjoyable. But there's just not as many games happening right now.
Right.
So it's really not whether we want to be outside or not, it's just there's nothing happening. And the practices and such, I mean, we did last weekend, the Inland Waters Colony, we did the the winery, we did the winery event, and that went over well. We got people coming in from other locations and
How
such.
did that go, by the way?
Really good,
I wasn't unable to attend.
As was I.
Yeah, work does that. It was on a weekday. It was the only time the winery was available. And we did have a few people that we just never seen before, and they just drove up and asked questions, played, did some sparring and such.
Did you sample the goods?
I did. We did. There was wine sampling afterwards and hors d'oeuvres. So that was all free.
When you say hors d'oeuvres,
meats, cheeses, like
things that would go with a wine tasting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, see,
Fruit.
last time you said the word hors d'oeuvre, it didn't pertain to food. It pertained to drink.
Oh yeah,
So.
that's what I meant.
There's pre-drinking, then there's
Pre-drinking,
actual drinking,
yeah.
and then there's your dessert drinking.
That's a thing.
Yes,
that is a thing.
It is indeed a thing.
But it was a good time. This upcoming week we have an event with the what is that?
Deep Light.
No, Deep Light's there too. But before Deep Light, there's
the Stageworks meet and greet.
That's after Deep Light.
Oh, it is?
Yep.
That's the 8th.
That's the 8th. That's the day after, so we'll all be tired and really, really sore.
Huzzah.
And then we'll be doing a meet and greet for new players.
Hi, everybody. We're done.
I don't want to get out of this corner. Why? Hey, if they hold the wall up.
Again.
But we really have the Wisconsin Historical Fencing Society or Association. So we're going to be meeting with them folks too to try to correlate some training or something that we can do together and see, because they got a lot of people who do LARP and they do, full on, weapons training. I posted some of this stuff in the scrolls and in the LARP community. They really know their stuff when it comes to, it's not just rapiers and such. It's actual broadsword, longsword, but it's all used with I think it's called HEMA. It's the historical reenactment training, blah, blah, something or other. Most of the people who know it are like, oh, this guy sucks.
Referring to whom?
The people who really know what the heck that's all about. And that's where we're going. We're going to go find out and we're going to learn. So we can kind of get an understanding with all this stuff.
Or were you talking about yourself there?
I'm going for sure.
No, with the "this guy sucks" comment.
No, the other people who comment on the YouTube videos when I don't know what I'm talking about, they are very adamant on pointing out that I don't know what I'm talking about.
But we try.
We try. And we learn, and we learn from those comments too. So we just try to swallow our pride and don't know everything. So it's cool. And that kind of led into some discussion on the scrolls where we had the, I'm like, with most of the medieval training, any type of real training, and what you just heard was the dog coming down to the studio, and he's here. He's like, hey, I'm getting in here too. That's Monty. That's Montoya. Yes, like Inigo Montoya, right?
And
my father prepared to die. Get out of here. But what is one of the biggest difference with actual sword training and fighting as opposed to LARP sword fighting? What is like the big differences?
Targets.
Yeah, where is your target areas?
Well, to disable your opponent, you might go for the arms and the legs, but most of the time you're going for a kill shot, which is the torso or the head.
As a short person, I always go for the legs.
Yeah, legs are real good. And that's kind of like the big difference between a lot of LARPs and actual reenactment or real weapon fencing training competition.
And some SCA groups.
Yeah, like groups like the SCA and other medieval reenactment groups. They have, a lot of their training is headshots because you want to take your opponent out in one swing. Because if you don't, they're going to take you out. Usually battles like that are very short. So, and it's hard with LARP because a lot of us don't have the headshot system. And it brought up a point in the scrolls where I'm like, why don't, we're going to games and we're getting headshotted all the time anyway. Why don't we just make it count? I brought that up to Ufnar today. I'm like, can we do some kind of high immersion mechanic where it would be allowed? And he paused for a bit and he's like, but that sash training, when you're sashed, head hurts, head hits do count. They're discouraged, but they do count. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Whereas most of the time I take a hit no matter where I get hit, and most of the players are the same way. But to move the mechanics to a full-on system like that would require proper head protection and face or eye protection. And that's what people don't want to do that because we got mages and stuff that doesn't really if I'm going to go into battle, I should be wearing a helm or armor because that makes sense. But we have mages and fairies and stuff that would be going into battle, but not necessarily with gear like that on. So that's where the two parts of the groups, it's hard to really mesh that because we got a lot of those fantasy elements in there. Now some game systems do it. We do see some of the Euro and Nordic LARPs that really have a very simplistic rule set, which is basically a guideline. It's just safety aspects of things, and then they just, hey, if you can do it, if you can wield it, if you can perform it, do it. And, you got a few things you choose, and that's it. A lot of them don't have skill progression. They don't have character progression. It's a one-and-done system.
Right. That's what brings it up. That's where I get into it. I would rather have the progression and building a character and learning new skills and being able to take your character further than to just, hey, you're here. Oh, you brought the biggest weapon I've ever seen in my life, and yeah, go ahead.
Well, but also, if you can't keep building a character, and again, the Euro LARPs and such, a lot of those are just one-off LARPs. They only do them once a year. So to progress a character
it would take forever.
It's not really about that. It's progression of story more than character.
Right.
But in here, in the U.S. and a lot of places around the world, we're doing it every weekend or every other weekend or at least once a month. And, that's some of the stuff where it's different. But I'm frustrated because I want to see more colonies. I want to see more players. And some of the stuff that I hear on the scrolls, and this is the first time these guys are hearing this, which is, great. We're actually having a lot of discussion where this is not scripted. Why don't we have thousands of colonies? Why don't we have tens of thousands of players? That's always a question because you see these big games. You see the SCA 10,000 people, Conquest 8 to 10,000 people. There's, probably half a dozen of them that are pretty well known around the world. And we have the player base. There's literally millions of people LARPing every weekend. Why can't we organize something that people can agree on so that we can all have bigger games, at least, regionally or once every 3 months or twice a year or something where it's not all the time, but
at least it happens.
Yeah, at least the big games are something to really look forward to.
Right. Well, you can edit this out if you want. A lot of it has to do with a lot of people in our system don't know how to communicate between colonies. I've noticed that's a huge, huge thing. They let personal issues get in the way of planning something just to have fun with.
Yeah, the drama part is really negative detriment, and it's not just in LarpCraft. I've seen it in a lot of systems.
Yeah.
And the communication aspect is people just want to like LARP with their friends, have a few buddies over, and swing some foam.
And that's fine.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's.
But what we're trying to do is communicate, organize, and establish a system so that we can do those bigger events once in a while. So,
and I know a lot of people. We're here in Wisconsin. The LarpCraft was founded in Wisconsin. It was founded in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. But a lot of people think that this is a Wisconsin LARP, and we have to drive to Wisconsin to do it. No, that's not the case. We're very democratic about having, say, a big regional event. If there's this is just hypothetical, if there's a realm that can support thousands of people or hundreds of people in, let's say, North Dakota, and they have the resources to be able to put on a big event, then by all means, throw your name into the hat and have people will vote on whether or not that's where it should be. It's not always just because we're in Wisconsin, everybody has to come to Wisconsin to have the big events.
Yeah, we actually this year had where it was Missouri, right? That was
the vote was for Mitri is actually the one who initiated it. We just put together who wanted to host a world event that could support that many people.
Yes.
And like Tavern Colony in St. Louis was in the running and they were winning for quite a while.
And then they decided that they would not be able to support that many or support a big event like that, so they took their name out.
Well, they were trying to build the privies and get some of the other stuff done.
Right.
For us.
I mean, for now, they take their name out of that.
They'd rather build it up and do it in for the running next year and do some big regionals and that kind of stuff.
Right.
They were more concerned about player safety and smelling good, because we like to smell good when we LARP.
Or at least after we're done.
Yes.
Or at least midway through.
Yeah. They wanted to build privies, and Monty, save me. Come here, Monty. Save me.
But and I was noticing that there was a lot. Hello. There was a lot of.
I call him and he goes to Ronan.
Yes.
Thank you, Monty. You're quite the savior.
And go. Thank you. But what they did do is they took their name out because they weren't prepared to hold an event like that. Now, when that happens, and people are like, "Well, I voted for this colony, and they were taken out, so I'm just not going to vote." It's not because we took them out because you voted for them. And they removed themselves so
they can get
better prepared. And at that point, it becomes well, if I can't hold it, if they're not going to have it here, at least you could do is vote where else you would like to see it happen.
Right. So, and we got these small locations. We got people all over the world. Iceland and Australia. Those are two very active countries besides the United States. Canada's coming up with a colony now in Vancouver.
That actually went through.
Well, one of them did, and now the other one wants to do it. So
that's awesome.
It was kind of a weird situation, but yeah. And there was another one in Kansas City or something that wanted to. I mean, they're coming in, and people are wanting to be part of this thing. And us as game organizers, we've preached from day one. If you look at some of the first videos we did when we were skinnier, had more hair, were less stressed out.
Speak for yourself.
Thanks. He said speak for yourself for those who didn't hear it. I'm working out every day.
You said the microphone picks up everything.
It sure does.
Okay.
Sure does. So don't fart. But the video... Uh-oh. The videos are always... We always want to build that framework of simplicity. So you hit an arm, you lose an arm. You hit a leg, you lose a leg. If you hit a body part that isn't armored, that's where you got hit.
Right.
So whatever physically was you were hit with is what you would pretend was real, and you would act it out accordingly. And then we started getting into making all these abilities and doing a lot of stuff that was taking the fantasy part pretty far. Lots of magic. We reduced that. We got a lot of skills now that we took out like the scenting and the tracking, and
they're just
we
they're
actually
just
made
so
some.
they're so unimmersive that yeah, you could wrap your head around it, but if you're out there in the realm and you're trying to get into character and you're trying to make it as immersive as possible, with somebody running around going "Stanton,"
yeah,
it breaks
If
the immersion part.
like scenting, if you can smell in the air, you can scent. If you can physically look on the ground and look at stuff, you can track. The elf night vision, we changed it so you can actually wear night vision goggles or monocular and cover it up in the medieval side so that when somebody's doing night vision, they're actually seeing at night. Because humans can't actually see at night, we have to actually use technology for that. So it makes it more immersive that way. And we're constantly trying to figure out, why don't we have more players? Yes, we're a young system. I get that. We're only 5 years old. A lot of these places and games have been going for 20 years or more.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big component, is just outlasting time. That's really hard to do. A lot of LARPs failed in the first 2 years. And, so we made it past that. But as the game organizers here, I'm constantly challenging the rest of the colonies with, what could we do to keep it simpler? How can we keep it fun? How do we keep players engaged?
And how do we get more people to come in? Which, to me, more people joining is basically some of it is a stigma. Some people see the movies and the stuff on YouTube and things like that, and they go, well, these are just, insert your derogatory comment there.
That's
but
a great way to say that. Yeah.
One of the great things about it is, once people actually try to participate, they realize how fun it is. So
and how not like the movies it is.
Right, how not like the movies, how not like the YouTube, the stigma. Once people get out there, they enjoy it so much that they want to come back. And I'm not exactly sure. Me simple man, me no understand great cosmic order of things. But if we could get more people to actually see how it actually works and get out there and enjoy it, or to try it, I think we would have more players.
Well, we do have the low and medium immersion setups, which were designed specifically for that reason. You don't need large amounts of equipment to come to a game. And for the most part, that works. But after the first couple of games, they never leave the low immersion or the medium immersion, or they take a really long time to get to high immersion. And that's kind of like the goal of LarpCraft, is to get everybody to high immersion if we can. The rules are written for high immersion, if we can help it. So, and we had a taste of some of that in the Inland Waters Colony when we started bringing in some SCA folks. Some of these guys have stuff they've been building up for 40 years.
And it's amazing.
And so, we got our little props and tents and stuff. And these guys come in and they just dwarf us, and it's awesome. You go to a game and it's like, wow, period tents, real armor, wow, and you get a taste of that, and it's like, I want more.
You want more, but one of the big things is how much it costs.
Yeah, you don't do it overnight. No. You can't. It is prohibitively expensive. But there's a lot of people doing those types of reenactments that are looking for something more like LarpCraft. How do we know that? Because a lot of people from the medieval reenactment groups are coming into LarpCraft, and they're doing character transfers or proving that they've been in games for 20, 30, 40 years, and starting LarpCraft characters and talking about colonies and groups and such.
And a lot of them are coming in because of their kids. The kids can't do SCA stuff because it is...
That we know
of. Because some of those are, I don't want to say more violent, but they're more...
It's full contact.
Yeah.
And it's using ratons and... that's real armor contact stuff. So
they come into, some people like that are coming into LarpCraft because they can get their kids involved.
The whole family can enjoy it. Yeah.
It's very family. Family friendly.
Family friendly?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you want a drink? Because you haven't even drank yet.
No thanks.
Okay.
No thanks, I'm good. But I have to work tomorrow.
Oh, all right.
The real world awaits.
So that was kind of my posting tonight was, how can we do something more high immersion? Because like in the inland water, in southeast Wisconsin, where there's like a LARP in every city, or sometimes 5 LARPs in every city, what can you do to bring people together? Because everybody's doing their own thing, which is okay. Food, yeah. Freedom, that works. But, you know, how do you get people to come to each other's games and communicate and organize and do that kind of stuff? Because some people just don't.
Well, I have an idea. If there is a broad spectrum of community, I know these people do their thing, these people do their thing, these people do their thing. If we could, I don't know how, but there has to be some way of getting in contact with all of them and say, hey, you bring your stuff, you bring your stuff, you bring your stuff. We'll all meet at one place. We'll get a place. We'll all get around. We'll talk about it. You come try our stuff. We'll go try your stuff.
Right. And that has worked in the past, and we've done it in the past, and we continue to do it. You know, we play each other's game sets. But when like the high-end gamers, I don't know, I don't call them gamers, I guess. The people who have all this equipment and stuff, and it's not just SCA, there's other groups, but they come to these games, and when everybody else is wearing jeans and T-shirts, they don't want to be at those games because that's not what they signed up for. That's not what kind of games they want to be at. They're progressed beyond that. And we knew that in LarpCraft that would eventually start happening, where low immersion players are now being not forced, but peer pressured to jump into medium and high immersion stuff. Most of our low immersion folks have already gotten into the mediums or low mediums. And I wanted to do an event in October, and for the October Esker event, I wanted to make a requirement for high immersion. So all of our tents, like not even my tents, only Keldor's tent would actually qualify. We'd all have to sleep out a game, which is fine. I don't care. If I can walk into a village and it's totally authentically awesome.
Well, maybe that tent that I made might make it.
Your tent would make it. Yeah, the canvas one.
Yeah, A-frame.
I don't even think my easy up with the canvas sides, to me, that's not immersive enough. Or I'd have to canvas the top. Then it would work. But inside, it's not real immersive. So because I've gotten a taste of high immersion now, I am obsessed with trying to like figure out how to do that again somehow, some way.
Oh God!
I'm on a quest.
Another quest.
And it's really neat to do that. But how do we do that with more games? You know, it's from what I was hearing from the other players that do have all this equipment, they want to have specific games like that they can go to, where they can bring all their stuff and that's the norm, not the exception. So while we have a really good amount of medium immersion players and a lot of people who are low immersion have really jumped up their game the last year or two, you have seen a tremendous increase in props and costuming. Like look at Deep Light and look at Midland. Look at the Colony players that have just came in. Look how fast they're progressing in their costume design and stuff. They're really coming along. So like, I don't know, in 5 years, it might not even be an issue because almost 90% of the colonies will be high immersion just because the players are having that much fun getting to that level.
This is true. And don't be afraid to go through a costume change, because I'm on Mitri's second costume change, and she's got one more yet because I'm going to be crafting her armor eventually.
You'll notice I'm wearing a little bit more formal attire this time. I'm actually trying to get some clothing. This is still kind of goofy to me. I don't know. I can't really get into it, but when it's all down, it looks okay. But like on the screen right now, you can't see all the.
It's very poofy.
It's poofy.
It's poofy, and it's hilarious, and it's very amusing.
It is. It's kind of like almost gesture-ish to me.
Gesture?
Gesture-ish. Gesture-ish. I got the shish mixed up.
Do you need a drink?
I did already.
Oh,
it's Tavern talk.
That explains it.
But I wanted to do more like we wanted to try to do a Yule Ball, because there was a location where we could actually do like a formal dance, and it was like in a medieval style area, or like a huge, almost like cathedral of a castle type thing.
Where'd you find that?
And then
a place.
A place.
Okay.
My wife works with a doctor friend who has this place, and oh my gosh, we've had parties there, and it's really neat.
Okay.
And I thought it'd be really cool. And their kids actually LARPed with us a few times. Their kids used to LARP with us at Maywood. So the but there wasn't enough time. But to do something more formal, I'm past just playing the killer. Or, I need more like the professions and stuff. That's really what I want to try to do. I want to get more socially engaged in the role play. Does that make any sense?
Yes.
Why'd you laugh?
Nothing.
Was that perverted?
She was
No.
laughing at me because I have a hard time actually.
I wasn't
Oh.
actually laughing at you. Besides you, Ryan's one of the more antisocial people I know. Not as far
It's
as
not
as far as. Never mind. Pretend you didn't hear that.
I don't know what I'm saying.
Hi, Monty.
Apparently you thought it was Monty time.
Hi,
You
Monty.
just keep coming down here and checking every 10 minutes.
No,
Just
no
to
kisses.
ruin the LARPCraft.
He is a warrior.
He's a warrior.
He's a warrior dog.
In fact, that brings up a good subject. I was going to bring Monty to some of the LARP games
Oh God.
because then our camp would be very hard to raid because
You
he'll
have
bark
to
at
drool on
anything
me?
at night.
He won't
So
attack anybody, but he'll bark.
he'll
He'll
bark
bark.
and run away and pee himself because that's the way he is. But he'll bark, which will make our loot chest very hard to get. But there are some obvious side things with that, like ticks and Lyme disease, which he currently has Lyme disease.
Oh,
Couldn't
thanks.
figure out why. He's being treated with it right
Alright.
now. But
Good.
I didn't know anything about that disease until he started walking like he was 100 years old. So we took him to the vet. But
Go.
I don't know where he got
Go.
a tick, but they said he could have got it in fall, and it could have been dormant until now. So
This
whatever.
is true. They can stay dormant. Very
Yeah, I didn't know. But now he's being treated. He's doing a lot better, as you can see in here, and he's back to his normal annoying
Goofy
Monty Labrador self. So he's okay. But having animals at LARPs, we talked about that. People always ask, can we bring horses? And that always drums up a bunch of firestorm of activity. In my opinion, I'd say yes, but like in their own private camp, they could have it.
Right.
That is well insured.
That's another thing. But to keep the horse off limits from players so that they can't get spooked by something so neither the horse nor the person would get injured.
Right.
I think from an immersive setting, that's awesome having horses.
Yeah.
Or, to guide them or something if it's like a trail walk or something so it's managed. If it's managed, it's fine.
Right.
But other people are like, yeah, just ride him in the battle. Well,
Well,
A, you have
can't
to-
do that.
all the people have to be trained. B, the horse has to be trained.
Yes.
But we're not saying no, but it's really tough to train a horse to do that kind of stuff, and
Well,
the possibility is almost
I'm
nil.
sorry. I'm saying no. I don't want to be charged at that horse.
That's what I'm saying.
so okay. So
You would
let's
have to
talk
be
about dogs and birds.
Birds.
Yes.
All right.
Like a falconer.
Yes. Or a person
Well, falcons can be just as deadly as
with a crow.
anything else.
Crows are one of the more
Crows would be
easily
cool.
obtainable of the two.
I've never seen anybody who actually trained a crow.
Really?
No.
My dad did that twice.
I don't know. I don't know your dad. You're not from here.
This is true.
But on the subject of like horses and stuff, and
Animals in general.
the insurance thing goes from like this thick to like that thick.
Mm.
Actually, our insurance policy doesn't say you can't have horses. There's nothing that stipulates that part. It just says don't build buildings that will fall. That's what they really are concerned about.
Well, we don't have to worry about the shack falling. That's for
No,
sure.
gosh, put things up for good. But
Yay.
animals at LARPs, yeah, let us know what you think if you've encountered some of this stuff. Horses are pretty obvious. The management is the real issue.
Dogs.
Dogs, that's,
That's another thing.
do you have them on leashes? Are they well trained? Are they well behaved? Can they work well with families and kids? Those are all the
would
things
not
that colonies are
recommend-
going to watch.
I would not recommend small rodents.
Small rodents, yep,
Yeah.
that would be.
Tend to run off
Well, no,
if you're in the woods.
even if you keep them in your pocket, like if it's a little pocket mouse, I still would not suggest.
Well, yeah, you fall on the ground and stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, LARP is
Oh,
pretty.
look! His name was Fluffy. Now it's Squishy.
He looks tired. He's flat.
Guys, that's not funny. You're terrible people.
He's a pretty mouse.
She said as she left.
Now he's a quiet mouse.
He's very quiet.
He's very
he doesn't
quiet.
eat much anymore.
No. He's very easy to take care of.
Yeah.
Okay,
Pretty bird.
changing subject. Why don't you shut up? Tell me about this.
All right. So Mitri came up with careful now. These journals or spell books, adding to the immersion of what can your character do, and once you start getting a lot of character skills to remember them all, it's much easier to carry it in a journal. And also, like Mitri here and Ronan, they actually have their character sheets in their journals.
Pasted.
And also the emergency contact information, which I'm not going to show because it actually has real numbers in it. And then their poetry and goals and that kind of stuff. I don't know. You got a bunch of writings in here, so it's in game stuff. So I don't want to read it in case I'm supposed to not know it.
No, there's nothing in there that cannot be.
Okay.
Mine actually. I'm going to be doing some stuff. I'm going to actually be using mine in game. I'm going to be writing in mine in game because I just did a character transfer. I transferred from being a barbarian to being a paladin, which I
represent.
Absolutely.
Represent.
But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use mine in game and record stuff that happened in game. Try to I'm horrible at drawing, but I'm going to be trying to draw like little things in it, just like the scribes of old.
And he's going to steal my ink nibs. Someone help me.
He's
No. I'm
going to
not.
be writing it in blood. The blood of people who don't obey his deity.
You'll also probably see me in mine because I'm now a cleric from a druid. So in the back, I have.
Don't think after me. I'm the
Records.
casual paladin.
The casual paladin.
I'm way too casual.
Hey!
I was listening.
Instead,
No, you weren't.
Kind of.
the casual paladin, you shouldn't be doing that. And instead, it's the casual paladin going,
You have a beer?
I'll look the other way for some mead.
We're killing who now? Oh, I can't do that for money. I'll just kill him.
I can't do that for money, but if you've got alcohol.
There's a prize at the end of the rainbow, yeah?
I have to something to look forward to.
If I remember correctly, all resurrections, anybody who can do any kind of healing or potion making, etc., is supposed to keep a record of it, yes?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
It's a shop record sheet.
So another thing you can do with your little journals, you can get off. I got ours off of eBay for like $5.
And for those of you listening and not watching the actual LarpCast show on the YouTube channel.
So it is a leather bound with a leather bound journal. It's got replaceable pages and a little ruler that's made out of leather. And it's really great for making lines in your book.
So one of these looks vegetable dye, vegetable tan, and then the other one looks chrome tan. Like Mitri's has a more durable finish on it. And then this one, Ronan's, is more vegetable dye, where you can actually feel it. It's more porous. It's able to take tooling and such.
Yeah.
If anybody spills anything on it, it's gonna stain.
But yes, yeah, it'll pick that up.
But I think that would add to the character of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is true. And just in case.
All right. I'll go.
Another thing that's a good idea to keep on your little notebook is a magnifying glass, because you never know what you're going to need to look up close at.
Or charm.
Or what? Or charm, yes, or charm.
If you have good eyesight.
The charm actually came default with the books, and
Nice.
I just replaced mine because you can't read diddly squat on these character sheets because you printed them out teeny tiny.
They all fit on a page. I don't know what you want. I did not know. You said print them. I print them.
Oh, that brings up another point.
Oh.
Not another point, but another subject that we can talk about.
Yeah.
When we're thinking about doing that switchover,
What switchover?
like we're going to do in the Risen.
What switchover?
So you don't have these tiny little sheets.
Okay, now, don't get your undies in a bundle. Let's just talk about this first.
That's why I said we're talking about it.
We're trying to make the system as easy to play as possible. So right now, there's some early stage development going on of trying to take what we have with our system and condensing it or simplifying it. So that way your character sheets aren't 12 pages long. And basically you have more flexibility from your character standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a few ways we're talking about doing this. And if you want to know, that's why you're listening or watching LarpCast.
Still watching and listening.
Still.
If you made it through the first 15 minutes, congratulations.
Yay.
And now the
Then
prize
it's been like 35 minutes. or 40
Whatever.
minutes. But should we talk about a little bit? I mean, I got an idea of how to say it. I got a pretty good idea.
Well, let's give them a taste.
Okay.
Oh God.
So instead of buying or purchasing from the Skills Training Center each individual skill, you basically purchase the entire profession. So like, let's just say weapons. You want to do weapons? You bind weapons to your profile. And now, instead of buying each weapon individually,
With XP.
you would just be able to do or use those specific weapons once you reach A, either a certain level, or B, once your XP level gets high enough. So essentially on your character profile, it would just say weapons. And the idea was, in a game, you would go to a colony, you go into a game. Let's say Ronan wants to learn two-handed broadsword. He would go to a two-handed broadsword trainer, and possibly in his book, he would say, I would like to learn two-handed broadsword. So it actually happens in-game, not through the Skills Training Center. And then it's recorded on his book, or there's witnesses to it, or whatever. It's story-based. It's story-based.
Right. The trainer would actually, at the end of the game, if there's a specific trainer for training in weapons, that trainer would go at the end of the game, would turn in his things to the game admins, and those admins would then send that to the...
No, they wouldn't send it anywhere. It's all happening in game. There's no other way. That's it. It's done.
Oh, well, they would probably sign it.
Yeah, they would sign it, right?
They would sign it, and that way you should, okay, I can do this because...
Right, you'd have some kind of deed or some kind of, the trainer would do that. And there's a couple benefits to doing it that way. Mainly, the weapon trainer is actually usually a weapon trainer in some way, shape, or form. They're an elder or something that knows the safety part of it. So when they're teaching in-game, when they're role-playing it in-game, what they're actually doing is showing you how to safely maneuver that type of weapon realistically while they're teaching you as your character role-play.
In character.
Yeah.
Well, and it's not just for weapons. I mean, it's for... the same thing can be applied for potions, leathersmithing.
Yeah, all your professions, race stuff, racial stuff, class stuff. Basically, once you're that race, okay, now you can do these things once you hit that level. We may not be able to use level because at that point, there'll only be like 12 levels or 12 things. Because really everything else falls underneath one of those things. So we may not be able to use level. Instead, we could just use XP. So once you hit that, once you're at 50,000 XP, then you can do all this stuff. 2 XP. Whatever the value would be, it'd be that value.
Right.
We'll probably keep it close to what we do now. That way everybody's still on track with it.
Right. Like we said at the beginning of this little part of the discussion, this is all
In the process.
in very early
Very early stages
Right.
of talk. So you'd still have to go through the approval process with the colonies and such. We can test market it out in the Risen with our colony first. Just really get a good idea with it. But again, we're just trying to figure out how do we get more players into the game, how do we keep the game as simple as possible, and how do we do the tracking stuff without it being clunky. So these are some of the ideas that we're thinking of. And that way you're still progressing a character, but you are not, it's not as complex. And at the end of the day, we could then write a script for the Skills Training Center to automatically bind those things. Because now there's not a lot of things.
Right.
So it
doesn't have to do so many different. It doesn't have to
Right.
cross-reference with this and then turn around and
do all that stuff.
Right.
Do the things that Guardians do.
Right. Okay. So that ends that topic. What do you think about 2015? I mean, are we going to be seeing a lot more? It's kind of hard to gauge, but we're getting a lot of new players in. Deep Light's getting not a lot of new players in. We're getting requests on Facebook and our Inland Waters colony. I'm seeing colony requests coming in from all over the place.
Well, with colonies, we definitely want to make sure that, and the big thing, and I've noticed that this has also been a hot topic, so I'm not going to stay on it for long. I'm just going to touch on this. Okay, you live in a city, and in the same city, another person wants to create another LarpCraft colony. And on the south side of the city, somebody else wants to make another LarpCraft colony. And on the west side, and there's like 5 colonies within, or 5 groups within a certain little area. Well, yes, you could technically schedule around each other, but eventually you're going to be stepping on each other's toes.
So
It's
instead,
going to be cannibalizing players. Oh, we like going there. We don't like going there as much. So we're all of me and all of our friends are only going to go to this one, you know. And
we worked our way around that. We had to actually adjust some of the colonies and combine some stuff and refund some people and do that. So that way the colony areas are a decent size. But that doesn't mean that the colony elders can't be assigned to actually host games or mini games or those types of things. And Tierndale in lower Missouri actually is doing this. They're having many, they're not called outposts, they're called settlements. So there's a settlement that's run by one elder. There's a settlement run by another elder. There's the main elders running the main settlement. So like they have this really large colony area. And they're doing these mini practices and mini games and outposts and battlegrounds all over the place, but still working together wholly as a colony. And that's working really well. And that makes a lot of sense. So, I mean, just because a colony has a specific area, that doesn't mean another elder or somebody can't come in and work alongside with that and host their own games if they do it right.
right, it's like, well, that's not like what we've been thinking about doing here in inland waters. When we're actually we want to break up the inland waters instead of one giant area. This is inland waters. There's actually different states inside the.
From a lore aspect?
Yeah, from a lore aspect.
I'm sorry, what are you feeding your dog?
He's very gassy. What you're not seeing and what you're not smelling is rancid Labrador rear end. So just be thankful you are hearing or watching this and not actually
This
smelling.
is why I am not sitting on that side of
It comes in waves.
the bench.
It's terrible.
I can't smell nothing, actually.
That's good.
I'm glad I have a cold.
Thanks. I hope I don't get that.
I don't have a cold.
He doesn't have a cold.
I'm just stopped
He's
up.
just stopped up
Okay.
because
I'm good. Good.
reasons.
Reasons. Oh, no.
But anyway,
Cutting into your forehead now? It's
I'm
making
getting used to
marks.
it. It's kind of getting you. I don't have it all bent right. There we go. Now I got it.
Right. It's
No, it's
making
way better.
marks. It's making marks on your forehead.
I got this crown or psychic band or
It's your
whatever
psychic band, he says.
thing. Something that I used to wear like a headband for because psychics actually have to wear a band of some sort. So I was trying to do something else that was more.
I like the band better.
I like this better, actually.
This is actually metal and stuff. Might turn my forehead green. I don't know. We'll see. If it's copper, I'm not sure. Surprise! Then I won't have to wear it after a while.
Our tin and green scalp.
Yes.
He's only part orc. I just found out, I swear.
One orc, way back in the family tree. We don't talk about it. But anyway.
We do have like some big factions now starting to form up in Wisconsin.
What?
And oh yeah.
What factions?
It's secret. It's secret, but it's not so secret.
Are
If
you
you look
talking
on the
about
scrolls.
House of the Undying?
No, that's another one, but that's not the one.
Was it the orc one?
No, that's one too, but that's not the one. There's more stuff happening now to where we're really close. Somebody somewhere is going to claim ownership over the realms. And that's really exciting for us to see that happen.
What?
I've always been trying to push, like, somebody's going to be ballsy enough and have enough support to declare themselves king or to be the tribe. What's the tribal leader called?
Chieftain.
Chieftain. I couldn't think there's another one for it, but something of that nature is, in my opinion, I think that 2015 we might see it. She's so excited she's hiccuping. So
That's
I
not
will
a hiccup.
oppose it.
you're gonna fight it?
I have to.
Why?
That's just-
What if they're on our side?
Then
What if I've signed the treaty?
Don't go. Stop
kidding.
metagaming.
I'm not That didn't happen. Really, it
Where?
didn't. No, it didn't happen.
I lost my book. It's red for a reason. I'm just
It is
gonna
not
throw my.
LARP approved.
I'm just gonna throw my book at people now.
One of the things that LarpCraft always had that other groups have that they really go for is that rank of nobility or something to be the king or leader or whatever. And we never had that structure in LarpCraft.
Because it was discouraged.
Well, and it had to come out organically through the game. It had to come out through roleplay. We couldn't just assign people it because this is a roleplay game. It has to come out naturally through the game. If somebody has enough support to do it, then they can do it. What?
What?
Nothing.
What happened last year?
Nothing.
Okay.
So anyway, that's I'm looking forward to seeing that happen in any of the realms, any of the colonies.
That'd be pretty interesting.
See if they do it, and that they assign their ranks, they assign their lands, they assign their titles, and then there'll be those who oppose them always. So they'll make enemies, they'll make treaties, they'll make war, and it'll feel more immersed. So it's pretty cool.
This is why I like being unaligned.
I like to be part of something.
That doesn't mean they can't hang around people.
What else do we got?
I don't know. We've gone long enough, so I mean we can keep the rest of the stuff for the next episode.
The next episode.
The next episode.
Bum bum bum.
Dun dun dun.
I'm not doing that.
Okay. That's right. Feel.
I will go. I will find a spell orb.
I
I
know.
will do it.
I know you will.
It's not a complete day without flaring or tenon. Not
Well,
Dimitri.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you have any questions or comments, go on larpcraft.com/larpcast.
Oh, I have something real quick to add.
Larpcast.com.
Um,
Hold the phone.
if you do go into LarpCraft and stuff like that, you can actually send messages to anyone.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to be our tenant. You can send them to me. You can send them to Dimitri. You can send them to any of the other elders. And
I know Ufnar is very knowledgeable.
if we don't know, then we will get the final answer between all of us. But to try to keep things more, instead of one person having to hold on to the reins for everything, you can go in and
Now,
ask anybody.
A good way to do that is if you're not in, say, inland waters. Say you're in.
Deep line.
Yeah, let's say you're in Deep Lake. I know Lima Zulu is. I think he's the Master Chief there.
So what they're getting at is you can ask questions at your local games to your local elders. You can ask questions right in the forums themselves, depending on whatever tracking system it is, Myths and Legends or Saying the Scrolls.
In the text.
There's actually right in the chapter, there's a thing right in the chapter for questions and answers, and almost 9 times out of 10, another elder or another person are answering those already. So the LarpCraft community is very self-engaged, and they are there to help you. And they're really, really good at answering a lot of questions. So thank you, elders. Thank you, players, for answering those and getting back to people in a timely manner when, not everybody can be on the scrolls at the same time.
We have an approximate knowledge of many things.
Yes, of many things. And the next episode, we're going to talk about how a game system can be ripped apart by drama and how to act appropriately in a communication area that's electronic, whether it be forums, scrolls, social media, whatever. There are things that literally can destroy things. So we're going to talk about that in the next episode. Join us for LarpCast number 3. Next week, we'll be back with you again. This is our tenant.
Bye.
That was Ronan. And
That
I'm
was
Dimitri.
And now a reading from the Big Book of Fun.
Or lies. Depending on your perception.
There once was a man named Enos. And you should cut it right there.
Does it rhyme?
Yes, it does.
Okay.